Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. This is going to be quite a different video from the rest of the videos that we usually do on this channel. Um, and the reason for it is, as the title suggests, my birthday is pretty soon. I'll be turning 22. Um, and Lately, I've been kind of stressed about it. I don't usually make a big deal about my birthday. Um, and I don't know what it is about this particular birthday that is making it so um, more emphasized, more important. I'm not sure why. I think it has to do with a lot of personal things that happened last year, and um, maybe like a little bit of insecurity going on. Because ultimately, I mean, I am happy with what I've accomplished, and I'm happy with like just my where I'm at personally in my life. Could it get better? Obviously, yes, um, but uh, but it's been pretty damn good. So so I'm not sure what the big deal about this year is. I mean, I guess it has to do with the fact that I'm getting older. I actually see this more as like the first genuine year as being an adult, because all the other years prior, like 18, 19, 20, 21, those years, there's always something with them. With 18, you're legally an adult. 19, 20 is you're still being viewed sort of as a child. 21 is when you get to drink and indulge in other adult practices. With 22, it doesn't matter. The years now do not matter until you turn like what, 45. So it's kind of like I'm putting meaning towards a meaningless age. You know what I mean? So maybe it's just like realizing that, oh shit, I'm getting older now, and it really doesn't really matter now at this point. It's just like it's kind of like an awakening of sorts, of realizing that I have to like push forward and like make some other things happen. So it's been a lot of that, a lot of just like realizing, just a lot of adult things, a lot of adult things going through my head. Um, but um, I wanted to also archive um, a little bit of my own personal belief system. You guys know that I am very open on this channel about certain things. I've been told you guys that I'm very much conservative. Um, we're not really going to be talking about political stuff in this end. We will talk about one thing, but other than that, it's pretty much just morality. Just wanted to just kind of dump my viewpoint for archival reasons, um, and just to just so just for my own personal sake. So, and I'm curious just if anybody at this age relates to any of these ideas and any of these beliefs. Um, so, so I guess we'll just start. The first real belief that I'll touch on um, has to do with the college system, and a lot to do with just how it's not much of a benefit to really a lot of people. Because there's this weird thing about college that we associate so much with. Like a lot of parents like to push their kids towards college because there's an expectation that the degree will mean something. There's some merit to actually going off to universities, and that's true in certain professions, like if you're in sports, or if you're in some kind of biology major, or some kind of counseling or psychological, psychology type majors. Those types of things have merit to them because, well, their professions require an educational background. If you don't require an educational background, which is a large portion of what college offers, that degree really doesn't matter, and you learn that pretty quickly when you're in the college system. I've been in it now for 4 years, and I plan to step away from it after this year, and just focus more on just adultery stuff, like building up an income and stuff like that, because ultimately that actually is where that's ultimately stuff that will matter versus having a degree that's just either A, obsolete, or just doesn't have much merit or meaning to it anyway. Um, and I know that the impulse is to try to validate my experience and, trying to justify the existence of, my time there. Um, just know that I accept that. I accepted that for a while, that my degree doesn't mean anything. It's going to be an AA. I mean, even in that stance, it doesn't mean anything, or in that type of area, it doesn't mean anything. Um, but I am fully aware of my of my of my legitimacies and just my the merit of what I have. So, um, and that's why I'm stepping away, because I don't think that I need to be investing more time. I don't need to be going off to get a bachelor's or a master's, because it just is more of a waste of time. Um, and if I really thought about it, I mean, I didn't really learn so much from college as I did just meet people. And that's ultimately the goal with, if you're going to be operating in film, is that it's all about the connections. You're not about there just to hear a few things here or there. You're there to talk to people, you're there to mingle, you're there to gain experience, because that's ultimately what looks good on a resume. It's not about, just what you read up on. It's about what you do, and a lot of those careers that they offer at college that can be achieved without an education background require some level of experience as well. They're not just going to pick up anybody. You have to have some experience built. Um, and there's people who get surprised that that they can't find any legitimate work, and they fail to realize that experience is required regardless if you need education or not. Um, and that's why you see a lot of these people who have bachelors and masters, they go off to working at like Starbucks or something, because they fail to see that the degree is half of what you need, depending on your profession. But experience is required in all fronts. It doesn't matter what that degree is or what your career choice is going to be. You have to have some experience in some form or another. So, but my point being is that college, at least to me anyway, like from my experience of college, I've seen it as a benefit to a very, very select few. Like I said, psychology majors, counseling, nursery, sports, because all those need some level of education in order to gain access to that industry. With other industries, you just need experience, and that's all you need: experience and the talent. So, and it's ultimately your choice if you want to go to college or not. I'm just saying that if you go to college, really, really understand what your profession is, and really understand what you really need to get into said profession. Because there's people who invest thousands, and I mean thousands of dollars, to going to these like fancy schmancy universities. And most times there's that old saying about college where you walk into college with one major and then you come out with another. The reason for that is because a lot of these kids are groomed to believe that major that they're first pursuing is a lock. They're gonna come out and they're gonna have all the benefits and all that sort of stuff. Not true. And they realize that about halfway through their college career, like 2 or 3 years in, you see people make the transition to like business, right? I mean, how many people do you know have a business major? So many people in college have business majors. More or less because they had a major previously. They found out that, oh shit, this is actually a very useless degree, and they just invested thousands of dollars to come to this university, and now they're having to try to justify that investment, not to mention student loans and all the other stuff. So they have to justify all that. So what do? They change majors, and they change to a major that is actually guaranteed. They're guaranteed to have money. So it's a very it's a very selective system, and you have to know what your career is, and you have to know exactly what you need in order to get into said career. So I just want to make that clear, because there's a lot of people who go to college. I was one of those who just presume that, oh, I'm just gonna use this as my gateway there, and it's just not the case. There's, you don't even have to go to film school. Like you just have to know the right people. Because even film school kind of operates on that same ideology, or that same attraction, because you're not gonna. It's all about the people that you meet at the end of the day. Um, so that's something that I've really understood, for my 4 years in college, is that it's very selective, and it's made for a few people. It's not made for everybody. And when they say that, they're not saying that because of how many brain cells that you possess. It's literally like, yeah, you don't need to go to college if you want to pursue said career. That's what they actually mean when they say that, So, because anyone can go to college. I mean, that's, I went to community college for 4 years, So, like, literally, you can just walk in, But in terms of having something with merit, in terms of having something that will justify your time, it's a handful of things, not everything that they offer. So that's the first thing that I have came to really believe at this time. The second thing that I'll really talk about is about empathy. Something that I've actually gained very recently. I'm a very judgy guy. I can't, get rid of that. That's just the cynic in me. I cannot turn that part of myself off. I have to be able to judge. And I still, to a degree, believe in that statement where you have to judge people. I do believe in that, because you can't begin to form the foundation of what you believe in, if you're not able to judge others, So, you have to be able to do that. And it's funny enough, like, I actually said this to someone, and they were like a uber religious type of person. Like, I don't know if they were Christian or not, but they were like a very religious type of person. And I was just speaking to them, and we were talking about our belief systems. I thought was a very mutual conversation. And I brought up that very point about, well, because she herself says she doesn't judge people, which that's full of shit. Everybody judges everybody. It's just the measure of that judgment that I've learned recently that makes it warranted or just a bully, But back then I was like very, I was very upfront, and I still am to a degree. I'm a little bit more empathetic, a little more sympathetic. I don't try to be as aggressive as I was, because back then, I'm talking about like a year ago, I was a little bit more aggressive, I would say, with how I phrase things. So I'm just trying to be a little bit more considerate, because it's that old saying about, the way you deal with people is the way the people will deal with you, like however that saying goes, treat people the way you want to be treated, that saying. So I'm just trying to be a little more considerate in that. But I said this to her, right? I said this to her, and her response, I'll never forget it. Her response was to get up and walk away, after she had said that she doesn't judge people, right? I said, like, well, like, you have to judge people, right? Because that's how you build a foundation. And then she just walks away from my conversation. Just like that's a judgment right there. You know what I mean? Like, you can't escape that. You have to be able to judge people, because not only does it protect you, but also it builds character, it builds development, it builds your personality. It also builds confidence in yourself, because when you're just a yes man, like, that's not healthy. You're just getting yourself into trouble, and you have to have more of a backbone. You'll learn very quickly that in life there's more no's than yeses. If there's more yeses and no's than no's in your life, then that's an issue. You have to be able to say no. You have to be able to hold firm to your belief. You have to be able to hold firm to what you believe in. At the same breath, I have realized recently that you also need to be a little bit more sympathetic, a little bit more considerate. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with what that person's saying. but it's just lending a little bit more of an ear, being a little bit more open-minded, a little bit more like, okay, well, maybe I'm not completely right in what I'm saying, you know, like just being a little bit more uh polite. No, that's the wrong word. Like mutual, I guess. Just don't be so aggressive with your points, because then you come across a certain way. I've realized, because aggression does not always mean that. Aggression does not mean confidence. Sometimes aggression just means being a bully, or it just means that you're just being hostile, and that's not healthy. Uh, healthy types of attitudes to put out. You have to be just. You got to be a little bit more. A little bit more neutral, a little bit more respectful, That's ultimately something that I've learned a lot recently, is trying to be more respectful of how people feel, because I can be a bit much when I get into it. I can get very passionate, but I'm trying to be a little bit more just open-minded to how people think, to what people think. Um, so so that's definitely a big one that I've grown to realize. For another though, I kind of touched on it just now. Stay firm to your boundaries and your standards, guys. That is very, very important. I think that I know that it kind of goes against what I just said about being open-minded, but if you are uncomfortable in any circumstance, I think that it's very important to vocalize it, and like, do not ignore your feelings. If you feel very uncomfortable about something and it's justifiable, and it's like totally understandable why you're being uncomfortable. It's not your insecurities, telling you how to feel. Like like tell that person, that you're not feeling okay about this, and like have the backbone to say no. Like, I know that it's easier and more comforting in some regards just to say yes, just because you don't want to be confrontational, but you have to be, especially if you're put in a position where you're having to jeopardize your own feelings and your own moralities. Like you have to be able to tell someone, no, I don't feel comfortable with that, because not only does that go against who I am, but also it just makes me feel flat out uncomfortable, so like I've had to do things last year, where I've had to vocalize myself, and I've had to, make some had some confrontations, had some very passionate discussions with some people, and like it's you're gonna disappoint some people, because they want you to be, they want you to fall in line in some regards, and it's just like, you don't have to be that, just be your own person, just don't be afraid to express that, to express yourself, and to let people know how you truly feel, because you never know, that might actually build more respect towards, like, your friends or whoever you're hanging out with. Like, you never know, or it could be the opposite. It might just show you might just present the true colors of who you're hanging out with. Maybe they're just assholes, so, but it's important to let the people around you, that you have to let them know how you're feeling. If you're uncomfortable, let them know. It is very, very important. That's how people get wrapped up in bad habits, bad situations, just flat out trouble. So just always be firm to that. Always be firm to that. If you don't like someone touching you, let them know. If you don't like someone saying a certain thing, let them know. Like, as long as it's justified, as long as it's understanding, there should be no issues with you vocalizing yourself. So stay firm to those. Stay firm to your principles. It's very, very important. If you don't stray too far from them, you need to stay on that route, on that path, because that's ultimately what keeps you safe. So, trying to think of what else. trying to think about what else I can really say. I mean, is that really it? I mean, 'cause that's a lot of my beliefs. Um, I feel like I had others. I'm trying to remember what I wrote because I wrote like 5 things that I like really believed in. Um, I guess to like jump from that point about being yourself. Um, really work on yourself. Especially at this age. I think that a lot of people um, uh, don't take the time to really hear how they're feeling, um, and it's like I've seen people who go to uh, like, how do I put this? Like, okay, um, it's one thing to go off to university and a college, or just go traveling around the world and all that sort of stuff. Like, it looks fun, it's great material, right? But that's all that really is. Like, if it were my choice to go traveling around the country or going to some fancy schmancy university or taking the time to actually work on myself, I would take the time to work on myself. Like, I think that it's very important um, to be understanding how you feel, to be understanding, how, um, to understand how you function, because I believe that people in their 20s also have a lot of baggage, like, I don't believe that any person in their 20s uh, does not come with baggage. You have things that you're dealing with emotionally, maybe literally, and it's important to challenge, not challenge, but to deal with it. Um, like, I think therapy is a great tool. I think a lot of people underutilize it. Um, and if you have the ability to seek out therapy or just can afford it, I say, like, go for it, like, um, because it's a valuable source, so, like, and if you have people that are around you, people that you can trust, family, friends, stick with those people. Those are people that you cannot uh, replace. Those are people that are there to help you through thick and thin. They're your support system. It's very important to have that. So, um, so if you have those resources available, use them. Like, don't just throw them away. And if you're dealing with like anything hard, like, let's just get real. Like, if you're dealing with anything severe, and if you could sense it, like, if you know in your heart that there's something really really wrong or something that just doesn't feel right, like if you're dealing with like depression or if you're dealing with um, anxiety or anything more severe, um, I strongly recommend that you do not do um, anything crazy, like going off to college or doing anything like that. It's okay to just not. It's okay if you're not ready. Like, it's really okay if you're not ready to go out to the big scene and get a house or anything like that. Like, I'm 22 and I still live with my mom. You know, like, and I'm okay with saying that because, well, I'm just not ready. And this year I will be pushing myself to be ready for that. But I took those years previously to work on myself. Um, and it took like many like forms of therapy. It took some reading. Reading is fundamental, guys. Like, seriously, read as well. Reading is really, really beneficial. I'm currently reading a book called The Art of Peace. It's like based on some Zen teachings, and it's actually pretty interesting. Um, like, that kind of stuff. Like, like taking the time to focus on like all fronts, like mentally, like physically too. I go to the gym like twice a week. I'm gonna probably push it to maybe 3 days a week for the summer. Like, these are elements that are critical to you know, to genuine growth. You know, going off to college, getting a house, getting married, all that stuff. That's just material. That's just stuff. You know, what's important is developing your morality. It's developing a sense of self, like having stability. Like that's insanely important in my opinion. Is having some stability, and we're not just talking about financially. I'm talking about mentally and physically. You know, so like really, really work on yourself, guys. That is, I cannot stress that enough at this age. Like really work on yourself. If there people are pushing you one way, then to hell with them. Like, you know what you personally need to do. So, and I guess my last point that I'll say, just to wrap it all up, just to bring it full circle, don't be like kind of going against what I was saying, but it ultimately is like another thing to understand at this age. Don't be too confident, you know? Obviously, I want people to like build your confidence, obviously, but and I, for everybody around me, I want them to feel confident and all that kind of jazz and stuff. But I feel that too much confidence is blinding. Like you should have some understanding of your current situation. Like I'm 22. I know that I don't know everything. I don't know how to pay bills. I don't know how to do this and that. Like to don't have this like egotistical, narcissistic like type of viewpoint. Like it's okay if you're wrong. It's okay if you're not right. It's okay if you make mistakes. Allow yourself to make mistakes, because like we're humans. We make mistakes, and to be all like Mr. Macho or this and that all the time, that's not real. I mean, people are human. They make mistakes. They're not perfect, So allow yourself to stumble a little bit, and admit when you stumble, Admit to yourself that, that sometimes I'm not doing all the things correct sometimes, So but yeah, I mean, that's just how that's just personally my belief system, guys. That's just how I personally see things. But perhaps things might change. Maybe I might have a different viewpoint come next year. But that's just my personal beliefs at turning 22. So I'm not sure when this video will get posted. Maybe a day before my birthday, a day after, I don't know. My birthday's on April 18th, so we'll see when we post this video, or even if I post it at all, we'll see. But I know it's kind of like just a scramble of just saying a bunch of shit, but I just wanted to spill out all basically my whole ideology, just where I see things, and maybe I'll come back a few years later if I'm still doing this and see if I've changed on my beliefs, So, but that's gonna be it for this video. It's been pretty long. I can look at the time now. It's been pretty long. You guys, let me know, what are your beliefs at 22? If any of you guys are 22, I know some of you guys are friends, or just some colleagues who watch this channel. I know some of you guys are also pushing yourselves towards certain goals in the industry. Rock on, guys. I've seen some of you guys progress, and it's really freaking cool. So I'm always here to support others. I'm not here to like bash on people. I have my beliefs, but I'm not going to be instilling those values on others. I'm trying to be much more respectful than I was last year. Still judgy. I'm still going to be judgmental, because that's how I save my ass, from getting in trouble. But I'm also going to make sure I have this level of respect always, when speaking. So, because that's ultimately what I think a lot of people lack, is, a lot of empathy, and respect for others. And you know, I just want to be able to hone in on that, be able to keep hold of that, you know, because I lost that, and I want to be able to, you know, retain that and reclaim that sort of thing. So, um, so, so yeah, so that's where I'm at. You guys will know your thoughts, and not getting any younger, so it's a little scary getting older, but you know, it's also a little bit fun because, you know, we'll see what comes next, what comes next for my life. Hopefully stable income. Hopefully maybe in a couple of years time we might be able to afford a place. I don't know about here in California, but we'll see what life holds. So, but you guys know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did I say that right? Yeah. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about my personal beliefs. And I'm curious about your personal beliefs at this age, 22, if you guys are at this age or around this age. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And thank you guys for watching. And that's going to be it for me. So thank you guys for watching. Sorry for all the randomness, all the just spilling of thoughts. That's just kind of the way I roll on this channel. So, you know, so if it seems a little sporadic, that's just my nature. But yeah, but that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I think I've said that like 5 times now, so I'm gonna head out now. I'll catch you guys in the next video. So, all right, bye guys. Have an awesome day.